Recorded. So, just some housekeeping things to remember. A reminder to mute yourself when you aren't speaking. I try to catch you as you come in and mute you. But when you do want to speak, make sure you take yourself off of mute. Please go ahead and introduce yourself. Drop your name and, if applicable, your company or organization in the chat. We're going to have time for Q&A and open conversation throughout today's content. I'm going to be speaking quite a bit. Please interrupt me, drop a question in the chat. Um, and I'll do my best to get them answered. A reminder that this is being recorded, so that we can make this accessible to everyone. And if you'd like access to this meeting later, it will be uploaded on the Arch YouTube page. And I do that within a day or so. A special note, we don't admit AI companions into this meeting. We do record meetings, and as a matter of course, we'd like to have the opportunity to redact if necessary, to protect confidentiality. So today we are going to begin with federal updates since the end of October, and then move to state and local updates, and then we'll open it up to agency updates. So to begin, the National Alliance to End Homelessness. See me pause periodically as I admit people. The National Alliance to End Homelessness filed a federal lawsuit with other organizations and local governments to challenge the withdrawal of the fiscal year 24-25 NOFO and the issuance of a new NOFO. If you remember, when we completed the NOFO last year, we were told that it was going to be a 2-year NOFO. And then HUD issued a new NOFO for this year, indicating that we were going to have to go through this process all over again, and had implemented some changes that would have been difficult, if not impossible, for us to meet in this year. That lawsuit is ongoing. There is no final judgment yet. But the U.S. District Court for this District of Rhode Island, which is the federal court that's been handling that case, granted a preliminary or temporary relief in our favor. So that means that the court found that HUD's actions were likely unlawful and harmful to the plaintiffs, that's us in this case, which includes all of the alliance members. And we are one of those members. So the COCs across the country are members of the National Alliance to End Homelessness, and then they were able to file suit on our behalfs. So the court, at that point, ordered HUD to reinstate for the time being that 2-year NOFO, and they ordered them to begin processing, not awarding, but begin processing the eligible renewals, that second year renewal, under that NOFO. So if the plaintiffs win at final judgment, when the case is over, the processing of the funding, and then the awarding of that funding will go out more quickly because they've had to start the processing part of the process, sorry, now. So they've gone ahead and started processing in the hopes that we win the final judgment, in which case awards would be quickly there forthcoming. So also because of the court's order, the new COC NOFOs that were issued at the end of last year that we were so concerned about, are not in effect, and HUD is not using them for the time being. On January 8th, HUD published a notice stating that it will accept applications for fiscal year 25 funding until February 9th, all following the rules of that 2-year NOFO. But HUD has said that if they win at the final stage of the case, they do plan to switch back to their original December NOFO. So we're sort of cautiously optimistic, and yet everything has not been decided yet. We're hopeful that a final judgment will happen by the end of February. By that time, we will have submitted all of the information that we need to submit in order for them to process the second year of those 2-year awards. But again, no awards will be distributed prior to the final judgment, which we're optimistic will be by the end of February. And so Arch again is following the instructions that were set forth in the notice, so that applications can be processed or renewals can be processed as the case continues, and will, continue to be on the lookout for future guidance from HUD. And of course, we will be updating you all as we hear step by step. And I just appreciate, I know that this is all super complicated. We spend days after each step trying to understand what's going on. And we really appreciate both the National Alliance as well as legal experts in our community and nationally who have been translating a lot of this for those of us who did not go to law school. Um, Congressional appropriators released on January 20th the text of a final fiscal year, that's fiscal year 26 spending bill it's called a THUD bill, and that stands for Transportation and then Housing and Urban Development. They put it together in one bill. And overall, the bill provides for 77 billion for HUD programs in fiscal year 26. And that's over $7.2 billion increase over the previous fiscal year. So this was significantly more than the 3.3 billion increase for HUD programs that were provided in the Senate's fiscal year 26 spending bill. Um, and so we were pretty excited about that. Last week, the House passed and sent the final fiscal year 26 package to the Senate before leaving DC for their recess, which was this week. Passing the remaining fiscal year 26 appropriations bill, and that includes that THUD bill, will require 60 votes in the Senate, which, as of last week, seemed possible. However, um, due to the tragic events in Minneapolis, Democrats are now saying that they won't vote for the package if it includes funding for Homeland Security. So Democrats helped pass the last two continuing resolutions to keep the government open. Um, there are a few Republican senators that typically do not vote for full year legislation that could withhold their votes, and this could make Democratic support for the bill even more vital. So, if the Senate makes any changes to the package, uh, including stripping the bill of funding for Homeland Security, which is a possibility that the Senate Republicans are hoping to avoid, the House will have to hold a new vote on the changes, which restarts the process. So the House is out of session this week. So the new vote will likely not happen until after January 30th, which is what's fueling concerns over a temporary shutdown again. So again, as things happen, we will keep you apprised. Excuse me one second. At the state level, the Louisiana Interagency Council on Homelessness was able to meet in person in Baton Rouge in December, and we had a really generative conversation about ways to better communicate our data, our challenges, and our wins. Um, um, from our local COCs to the governor's office. And so we're looking forward to our next meeting in March where we can codify some of those plans. And we're doing a bunch of work in the interim virtually. And so really looking forward to strengthening that pipeline between what we do at the COC level and the governor's office so that the most well-informed decisions can be made. The Louisiana Services Network Data Consortium, which is less obnoxiously known as LSNDC, now has a public-facing data page that you all should find helpful. And I apologize ahead of time for those of you who've had to sit through this walkthrough several times now, because some of us meet in a bunch of different permutations all the time. But I want to offer the overview for those who are new to the site. So I'm going to change screens for just a second. So the website is lsndc.org. I'm going to take 1 second right now and drop that in the chat for you. lsndc.org/data. There you go. So you can cut and paste that. You want to bookmark it. So basically, what we wanted to do is communicate to the general public, and we're talking about stakeholders, community parties that are interested, people who are adjacent to the housing and homelessness space, as well as um, journalists who are interested and want to learn more. And so what we did was we started by a brief narrative around understanding homelessness in Louisiana. And anytime a report is referenced, it is hyperlinked to that original data, that original report. And so what we wanted to create was one landing page where you can learn or jump to other studies that have been done around housing and homelessness, and a place for us to aggregate the data um, for Louisiana as a whole. So also, anytime we used industry specific jargon, we wanted to include a definition because even though we use these terms, many of us use these terms regularly. We may not be entirely sure what that definition is, but certainly those who aren't in the industry may not understand it. And so as you scroll down, you can look at the pit count totals. This is again aggregated for this state of Louisiana. And again, I want to lift up that Louisiana has the second to lowest homelessness rates across the nation. And so you can hyperlink to that original report here. Um, and if you hover over any of the points on any of the graphs, you can get the original data point, the granular information. As you scroll down, it breaks it down by housing type, by race and ethnicity, discusses what unaccompanied youth means, and then how are we utilizing shelter and housing in our state? So by way of temporary beds and permanent beds. And then how many people are sheltered and how many people are unsheltered? And what does that mean? Um, And then we move on to housing because we know that the spectrum moves from homelessness and does not end until we have safe, affordable, and stable housing for every person in our state. And so here it hyperlinks to the Alice report, the Out of Reach report, and the housing needs by state, although we go ahead and quote some of those data points throughout the website. So again, you can see that a 3 bedroom fair market rent in Louisiana for 25 is $1,515. So again, you can hover over these and find out. And then where are the most expensive areas in Louisiana by housing wage? Um, And then I wanted to scroll down to here where it does a breakdown. You can click here for point in time and housing inventory count raw data. So that's breaking it down by COC as well as all of the other demographics that we mentioned earlier in the website. So you can see a table that we use to create this website, as well as statewide system performance measures, which is a bit more granular for those folks who really want to dig in. And again, this is just the beginning of this site. We would like feedback. So please send me any information or thoughts you have, things that you'd like to see. We've already gotten some really great suggestions this week that we're going to be starting to implement. And eventually we will have pages by COC. So not only will each of our COC's websites linked to this data page, we will be able to house our COC specific data on this page as well. So again, please take some time, click on everything, make sure that things make sense to you. And if they don't make sense to you, please let me know. You can email me at elsa@archacadiana.org. Or if there are other touch points or data points that you think that we should address, we're very, very open to suggestion. This was just a first stab. The Louisiana Advocacy Coalition on Homelessness will be hosting the second annual Advocacy Day at the state capitol on Wednesday, um, April 8th. So if you could put that on your calendar, Wednesday, April 8th, please, please make plans for as many of you all and perhaps your staff to be able to attend. We want to make sure that there's a great turnout again from Acadiana. There was last year. It was a small advocacy day because it was our first, but we're really looking forward to building it out this year. There's not only going to be a rally, but there's going to be an info table in the rotunda for 2 days, and we'll have meetings with legislators. So again, please put a hold for April 8th. That's going to be um, Housing and Homelessness Advocacy Day at the state capitol in Baton Rouge. And a reminder that the state legislative session is March 9th through June 1st. And the Advocacy Coalition is working hard to work with lawmakers on legislation that would help those experiencing homelessness and help them rather than harm them. And so, again, we're right now working with legislators on proposed legislation. And if you would like to get involved in that advocacy, please reach out to me, Elsa at archacadiana.org. So, as you can imagine, point in time counts across Louisiana and really across the nation were postponed from January 26th to various dates in late January and throughout February due to the winter storms that we've been experiencing. Our new date here locally in Acadiana is February 9th, and we thank all of you all who signed up to participate for your flexibility. If you have any questions or concerns about the pit count, please reach out to Nicole Phillips. She's on right now, so you can private message her in the chat, or you can email her at Nicole, Nicole, at archacadiana.org. So we're really excited about the new COC membership year, which begins March 1st. We're going to be offering a wide array of trainings. They'll be free for members and a small fee for non-members that will cover not only the foundational trainings that we have offered year over year, like around coordinated entry and trauma-informed care, but also broader trainings in housing-specific literacy, communication and conflict skills, compassion fatigue, recognizing housing insecurity among employees, and one that I'm really excited about, which is poverty-informed supervision in the workplace. So we're really trying to make sure that we are serving not only those who are direct homeless service providers, but those who are adjacent or interested and invested in this work, and that we're offering services for members, no matter their entry point into the COC. So keep an eye out for membership information. That's going to be coming to you in February. We had to cancel our January groundwork meeting because of the winter storm, and we'll be meeting again on March 16th and focusing on financial wellness, the resources that are currently available for financial wellness development, and also needs. So we're going to be able to see what services are existing, which are perhaps being duplicated, and where do we have gaps so that we continue this full spectrum resource mapping for all human services in our area of Acadiana. The COC has been operating a warming shelter in partnership with LCG and the Office of Homeland Security and Emergency Preparedness over the past week. And this is, I think, our third warming shelter of the year. It's been really successful. We've offered shelter to as many as 79 on any given night, and several pets. Again, a reminder that this serves not only people who are unhoused, but those whose housing does not have adequate heat in order to withstand these frigid temperatures. So, thank you to all of the agencies and organizations who've come together to make this happen. It really is a multi-agency effort. It is closed tonight due to a bump in the temperatures, and so that the facility can be deep cleaned, but it'll reopen tomorrow evening through Monday morning. So again, thank you to everyone who's come together, and thank you to those of you all who have dropped supplies off at the Art Share House. We've really been relying on you. We look forward in the future to purchasing reusable pillows, but we were not going to be able to purchase them and have them delivered in time for this warming shelter. But we are looking for sustainable options moving forward. Sustainable both for our organizations as well as environmentally sustainable. So, really, thank you all so much for stepping forward and coming with your tiny deodorants and your packaged underwear and your pillows and everything else. Really appreciate it. I also want to say that I know that many of you all are operating with skeleton staff due to flus and colds going around, weather-related events, and picking up extra work because of the warming shelter. I see you. I know how exhausting this can be. I know that this is not the way that you thought the year might start, but I'm really deeply grateful for your commitment to this work, and I understand the stress that this is causing. Um, from just an arch specific um, perspective, we are continuing to take donations at Share House on Tuesdays, Thursdays, and Saturdays from 10 to 3. We are low on things that we aren't normally low on. So towels, dishes, small kitchen appliances, and by that I mean like crock pots, rice cookers, toaster ovens. Um, keep reminding people on social media about ShareHouse, especially in your neighborhood groups. As you see people say, "Oh, I don't really know what to do with my mattress. Does anybody know where it can go?" If it's not torn or stained, ShareHouse is at this point the most sustainable option. It immediately goes out into the community free of charge. Renter readiness courses are going very well. They've been extremely successful. We've seen people stay for almost an hour after renter readiness courses as they pick our brains or they tell us about the experiences that they're having. Thank you to the Lafayette Housing Authority for their partnership in getting these classes like really established in our community. If you're interested in having clients attend, or anyone else interested, or maybe you're interested. They're free, but they do require registration. And so the link is on the screen, but I'm going to drop that in the chat as well right now. Um, it is an evergreen link, and so we just continue to add dates to that link so that is always the registration link for those renter readiness classes. And again, it's for people who maybe it's been a minute since they've rented, or been able to rent because they have experienced being unhoused. Maybe they've been a homeowner and they have not rented in quite some time or ever. Maybe they're a young adult who's never rented. I think that I would have benefited from this course when I was 19 and renting my first apartment. And so please, get the word out and make sure people register and take advantage of this right now grant funded resource. And so at this point, I'd like to open it up to any other agencies, maybe give my voice a rest. Um, and so if you have any events or programs that are coming up, or if you have any staff announcements, et cetera, or just challenges that you'd like to community source for some thoughts or feedback, now's the time. You can just go ahead and take yourself off mute and offer an update.
Hey, this is Rebecca with Faith House.
Hi,
We have a
Rebecca.
couple of things coming up. Right now, we're doing a campaign called Navigating Hope. We really need some new vehicles to drive our survivors around to doctor's appointments, job interviews, just anything bring kids to school that miss the bus. We're always using vehicles here, and our vehicles are starting to get in really bad shape. So we're doing a big campaign trying to raise some money. So if you don't mind sharing that, if you see it on our Facebook. Also, we have our boutique in Crowley called Wildflower Lane. It's on North Parkerson. And we're doing an event this Saturday, the 31st, called Celebrating Spring. We have some raffle items. Dustin Gaspar has signed a guitar and has some merch for us. We have a really beautiful hat from that was donated from a hat maker, Adorn Sisters, and just some other great prizes. If y'all can come by, if you spend $10 or donate $10, you get a free prize. So we just have a lot of free stuff this Saturday. So I know it's going to be cold, but I'd love to see some people out there and getting some free stuff and some really good finds for a really great price. So thank you.
Rebecca, I have a question about cars. Are
Sure.
you doing like a fundraiser so you all can purchase vehicles? Or are you looking for donated vehicles?
We do both, but we're mainly looking to purchase new vehicles right now. We do take donated vehicles in. If they're not vehicles we can drive, we get permission and we have somebody that scraps them for us and gives us the money. If it's not a suitable vehicle, we've given them to survivors in the past. If we can work out all the legalities, so yes, we take both. But right now, the campaign is for new vehicles.
Okay, that's great to know because I have had a couple inquiries around used vehicles. So that's good to know that Faith House will take those donations.
Yes, yes, thank you.
Thank you. Any other updates or anything that you want to kick around to the group?
Good morning.
Hi.
This is Sheila LaSalle. I'm with the Office of Public Health. Um, just had a couple of really short, quick updates. Um, we're getting ready to do our week. It's called the ESF 8 training, and we do it each year. It is for all of the staff of LDH, but we also send it out through LAVA and invite any volunteers that would like to come and attend it. It's training on how to work in the shelters. Number two, we've been really busy with the winter weather events that we've had um, on a lot of state calls and working the event itself here in Acadia. And with Mardi Gras season coming up, the ESC will be activated during some of the parades, and we will be working some of those events. We'll be working at the ESC. And that's it for us.
Thank you for sharing that. Can you tell me, where would people go to sign up to attend that shelter training?
Um, you would need to go on to LAVA, which is Louisiana Volunteers in Action, the website, and sign up as a volunteer. And we will be sending that invitation out before long because the training is going to be February the 12th from, we have two sessions. One is already full. The 8 to 12 session is full. So the only one that we will have open is the 1 to 5 session. You'd need to sign up, call one of us. The email will have our contact information to notify us, to let us know that you'll be coming. But it's February the 12th, and it's going to be at it's the Sheriff's Training Center. So all of that information will be in the email that'll go out through LAVA.
Perfect. Perfect. And Sheila, there's a question in the chat you might want to answer if you're able to. Maybe just like you guys can connect. But we'll definitely be pushing that registration out through an e-blast. So thank you so much.
All right, thank you.
Hello,
Hey, Wendy.
how are y'all?
Good.
I'm Wendy with Acadiana Cares. I just wanted to update y'all on a few things that's going on with our clinic. So we have opened Acadiana Cares Wellness Clinic. We have primary care services and site services. We have also opened our pharmacy, which is in the same location. However, you have to be a patient at our clinic in order to be able to utilize our pharmacy. But the goal is to have your appointment and pick up your medicines on the way out the door, so you don't have to go to an alternate location. So if anybody would like any more information about that, they can contact me or they can call our pharmacy. I will put the number in the chat. Thank you.
Perfect. Thank you, Wendy.
Get that.
Are there any other updates?
Hey, this is Hannah Martin with Acadiana Area Human Services District. I just wanted to let everyone know that we are currently doing a community needs assessment right now for our CCBHC grant funding. CCBHC is what makes us a certified community behavioral health clinic. We've posted that information about the community's needs, but we also have a professional survey going out as well for community needs. So if I could send that over to y'all to kind of spread around, that'd be super helpful to make sure that the work we're doing reflects what the community truly needs.
Hannah, if you send it to me, I'll drop it. We've got a group for homeless service providers, and I'm sure that you'll get a bunch of feedback.
Awesome. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Any other updates? There's a question around shelter openings for a single female in the chat. If anyone has a resource or wants to connect privately, then go ahead and make that connection in the chat. Any other updates? Well, I really want to say thank you so much for joining us today. I don't want to keep you all any longer than we need. I know that there has been so much going on that that you all could probably use that time back. If you have anything, any feedback or questions or concerns, please email me at elsa@archacadiana.org. I look forward to seeing you all next month, which is February 26th. We're going to be back to our fourth Thursday of the month at noon. If you've reached out to me about a presenting at one of the Arch General meetings and I have not gotten back to you, I've gotten a couple of emails in the last week. Please know that I'll be following up with you soon. This year didn't start out as planned, but I will be circling back. And I really appreciate when you all have suggestions about people to get, or if you yourself would like to present, because again, these meetings are your meetings. I can offer content and provide it, but I don't know what you all would like to see unless you tell me. So please continue to give me feedback. If you miss this meeting or missed part of the meeting and want to go back, again, there's a Arch YouTube page, and you can get to it by going to the Arch website, which is archacadiana.org, and up in the top right-hand corner, there's a YouTube icon. But other than that, have a great day, and I'm wishing you a really safe and healthy weekend. See you all soon.